Good morning, world. Once again, we are here. Let's get it on today. I am sitting in across from my compadre, and he is home because this is the 5th Ward Wildcat. Basketball is about to get started, and you are set.
I am KG, and you are once again listening to another installment of the KG and 5th Ward Wildcat podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Wildcat, do your thing. Give us those scores.
All right, let's start off with the HBU Huskies. They had a good week. Women's golf junior Kelsey Lou Hing was named Great West Conference Golfer of the Week. That makes the second golf of the week that the women Huskies have won in the Great West Conference. Women's soccer won that conference match over North Dakota 2-1. Men's golf finished second at the Husky end with Intercollegiate. The St. Thomas Celts women's volleyball lost 2 matches over the weekend. First one to UT Brownsville 3-0, and an hour later the Lake 3-1. Women's basketball opens the season and their inaugural basketball program, hosting Loyola University out of New Orleans on Saturday at 2:00 p.m. Men's soccer, has gone 4-0 this month at home, going 5-1, 2-1. Texas College winning over them 3-2, and Bacon 3-0. Men's basketball scrimmage was rescheduled for Friday at Lee College. Don't have a score for it, but they will open up in an exhibition on next week. Excuse me. Texas Southern University Tigers. The women's soccer beat Grambling 5-2, then turned right around on Sunday and lost to UAPB, the Golden Lions, 5-0. Men's football won the football won their homecoming, beating Central State 42-11. Well, I guess that's why I kind of said it right there. Women's volleyball beat UAPB 3-1, and then lost to Wiley College 3-0. Rice Owls. They won, women's soccer lost to East Carolina 3-1, and to Marshall 1-0. Women's volleyball beat Memphis over the weekend 3-0, and then lost at UAB 3-1. Women's swimming and diving won their meet at Miami, University of Miami, 131-74. Men's football lost their homecoming 38-20. San Jacinto College Ravens. Women's volleyball won another match, beating Laredo Community College 4-3. Men's soccer beat Long March 4-2, and are at the Region 14 tournament starting Friday night at midnight. Then we go on to the U of H Cougars. For the
good stuff. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Women's soccer split on the road this week. Win at Marshall, and then lost to ECU 2-0. Women's volleyball won both matches, 3-1 over UAB, and then 3-1 at Memphis. Football. You all beat Marshall. What was that final score? I think they said 63-28. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir. Marshall was talking some smack. Some of their players were put in their place.
Well, you know, Vinny Curry. That's the big guy in the conference. That's what everybody talks about. Coach talked about that, 2 weeks in a row.
Someone talked about him. Vinny Curry should have a solid pro career, but the U.S. O-line did a great job neutralizing him, and he was not factor in the game. So kudos to the O-line for that performance. But Marshall, some of their fans and some of their players were talking some smack and noise and everything, and they lost 63-28. So the scoreboard did enough talking for Cougar fans. So is that it for the score, sir?
That's it for the score. So I just want your little comment,
no problem, because
it's Thursday.
U of H is going to move to 8-0 this evening. Thursday night when they play crosstown rival Rice Owls on campus. University of Houston at the Rob, 7 o'clock kickoff. It's going to be a little cold and rainy.
Yeah.
They throw the weather forecast.
Getting chippy out there.
I think it depends on turnovers. If the Owls turn the ball over, especially in the first quarter, like they did,
that was.
You're not talking about this off air. I think the Owls kind of defeated right now. I mean,
something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
No, not physically, just mentally wrong with that situation.
No saying that they're going to quit anything like that. I think they have a negative defeatist attitude right now, and if they make matters worse with turnovers, and the Cougars really put it on them early. Game to be over by halftime. But I say Cougars win, let's say 56-20. I'll give them 20 points.
I'll go with that. I'll go with that. If it transpires that way. Because right now, Coach, he hadn't made a definite statement as far as who's going to start and how they're going to go. He just basically said when the game gets going, whoever gets into the flow and things get moving, that's how he's going to roll with that.
Yeah, Coach Bailiff's, not sure who's going to be the starting quarterback. Tuesday's Bayou Bucket Breakfast that we both attended went pretty well. We checked out the new facilities, Bayou City Event Center. It's a great place. And if you allow me, sir,
go ahead.
I'm going to plug it again because the Bayou City Event Center is where the first inaugural Guy V. Lewis Award banquet will take place in March 24th, I believe, that Tuesday before the Final Four start. That's where we will announce the top boys basketball player, high school basketball player in the greater Houston area.
So far, how's your watch list coming?
Everything's coming along. Thanks also that. I'm going to make a mental note to mention that. We will announce the initial watch list in the coming few days. We send out press releases in the Houston area and on websites. We'll be on the GuyVLewisAward.org website as well. So the initial watch list will be out there, and we'll accept more nominations up until probably end of December, and then we'll narrow it down to 20 in January, and then we'll have a final 10 in February, and those 10 young men will be invited to attend the banquet in March, where we announce the winner of the top boys players in the area. So fans can vote. We'll be allowed to vote once pared down to 20. Media will vote as well. It's an honor for a great coach. It's important to all of us. It's connected to basketball in Houston specifically, because Coach Guy V. Lewis means a lot to all of us, and this is another way to help our basketball as well as keep Coach Lewis's name out there in the public eye. So, talking basketball, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I want to start on because of we're talking basketball. Coach Don Knoll, who's in Rice Athletics Hall of Fame induction ceremony, was on last Friday.
Correct. And
Coach Don Knoll, who's in charge of the our association, put on a great program. He had help from a lot of folks. One of those was John Coles, who is president of the association. Rick Greenspan, the director of athletics, and the ceremonies was Lisa Malowski. But the honor reason the awards handed out was honorary aura went to Audrey Lay, who is a part of the foundation group that has donated space for a practice facility for the volleyball and men's and women's basketball team to practice in. They are also a part of the reckoning part as far as helping with the facility, scoreboard, and other foundations and all the needs in the baseball program. The Distinguished R Award was given out to Ralph O'Connor. For a minute, I thought I was looking at he's a spitting image of baseball guy, the Astros guy. Just drew a blank in the play-by-play and color guy for the Astros for many years.
Milo Hamilton, Dean Elston, Larry Durkin, Milo Hamilton.
Milo. But the inductees, everybody was there. Everybody was well. Everybody spoke. There was a lot of family support, a lot of our support. First one on the inductees was Rodrigo Barnes, one of the first few African-American athletes on campus. He was part of the football program, great player, great person. Had a chance to talk to him personally. His one-on-one will be on the at AKSV, the CSR blog before the day is out. The second inductee was Kenny Barr, great pitcher from early 2000. Went on to have a career in the major leagues. Now he is scouting for the Houston Astros.
Really?
Yes.
Good for him.
And he's doing well.
We can find some talent for the Astros.
Hopefully, especially with this new group. Brian Bronson, track guy, NCAA winner, conference runner, sprinter from what all I could tell, especially looking at him and speaking to him, he could step out there today and run with these guys. Now, whether he would be able to compete, right off the top, but he looked in shape. And it says a lot about who he is as a person and his attributes and all of his accomplishments over time, as a runner. Candace Lasmester, another track and field person, came all the way from Canada, from the Great North. Didn't quite know who Rice was, and thought somebody was calling it when they called it off the scholarship. She thought they were calling asked them to family to buy rice, food. But she got to campus, found her way, found her life partner, and she spoke well and talked about her successes and crowning glory and all as far as running track for the Rice. Mandy Malloris, swimming, a great swimming person, won Southwest Conference and went on to NCAA. WAC. By this time, it's the WAC Conference. And then we finished up with Greg Williams, was Southwest Conference Player of the Year. Coach of the Rice Owls women's basketball. He was.
And he also coached in the past at the University of Houston, so he has ties to the city basketball, really, because he coached the Houston Angels.
He coached Don Noble. Matter of fact, he said from there, that's how he kind of like switched up, made the crossover to women's sports. He kind of fell in love with that because it was more of basketball to where he could relate to as far as just the game itself. But it was interesting watching the film on him. Chris, he was a shooter.
Coach Williams could shoot the ball.
He picked the screens and all, and folks in the game against Texas is the one that they showed, which was ironic. They stepped back, stayed in that flat zone. He stepped outside. He knocked down what now is recognized as a couple of threes. He knocked them down pretty well and won the game for them.
But congratulations to all the inductees. And we'll just tie it all together. Wednesday was media day for U of H men's and women's basketball teams and the Rice men's basketball team. And you and I are both there. We'll have videos, interviews, articles on my website, HoustonRunBarview.com, your website as well. Just a couple things about it. You and I expect good things from both men's teams.
Correct.
We expect good things from the Rice women's team.
Correct.
We have lower expectations, good words, question mark for the U of H men's team. And tell me your take on this. When Coach Buchanan was talking at the U of H media day, did it seem like to you that he was kind of prepping everybody to not expect a lot from the team this year?
Yeah. And it was almost like come see us play, give us some support, and just give us time. We lost a lot of firepower. Excuse me. And we lost a lot of leadership. And now it falls on Roxanne Button and Portia Landry. Between the two of those young ladies, he's hoping to kind of like keep it all together, non-conference, and get into conference play and just compete. And I think the word compete will pretty much be his mantra throughout the season, because right now he's kind of like everybody's feeling their way through practice and just preparedness. But I did notice one thing, because Roxanne actually mentioned it in her interview with you and I. They spent a lot of time in the gym this year, in the weight room. They have their own strength and conditioning person now that's set up specifically for, women's basketball and women's sports that was supposed to help them prepare, how can I say, strength and conditioning, and just stamina, finishing games. Finishing game was one of those words that Coach Dickey mentioned a lot in his speaking. But staying with the women, hopefully, some way, somehow, the freshman group that has come in can contribute.
We'll see, because I don't have high expectations for the team, especially non-conference games. But talking Portia Landry, she mentioned, as I mentioned on previous podcast, junior college transfer, Latasha Tubbs, shooter. She can flat out shoot the ball. And as Portia Landry P referred to, one of the freshmen homeschool, Sharon Alford, she is going to be, I expect good things from her this year, because she may be raw and inexperienced in basketball, but she has a lot of natural ability, natural strength to from the low post. So there'll be interviews and articles posted on both websites. From Media Day, I had one already posted on my website. It's on Houston Round My Views Facebook fan page as well, with a Q&A with Kirk Van Slyke, junior forward for U of H, and sophomore forward Landis Harris, who was sporting a different fashion statement. He had a regular tie tied as a bow tie, which really intrigued a lot of the media gathered yesterday's Media Day. But he's lost weight, he's in shape, he did a lot of running, so he's much more ready, he says, he believes, to be more consistent game in, game out threat this season for the Cougars. Kirk Van Slyke, and I asked a few of the players there, so U of H and Rice, about the importance of having crowd support at the home games and how much it means to the players and how much it gives them a little shot of energy to play harder when they have the crowd support there, cheering them on at the game. So that's a little bug in the ear of everybody listening to come out and support U of H, Rice, TSU, Prairie View, Houston Baptist, St. Thomas, support the athletes, support the student athletes at the games, and help them achieve success this season during this basketball season. As we're talking now, you touched on TSU winning homecoming, blast in Central State, 42-11, I believe was the score. Yesterday, Wednesday, TSU sent out their schedules for men's and women's basketball. The men have a home exhibition game on November 7th versus Wiley College. Women start their season at home on November 11th versus Norfolk State. November 11th is a big day for a lot of the women's teams in the area. TSU plays at home against Norfolk State. Rice and Prairie View battle on the Hill at Prairie View, 7 p.m. November 11th.
We'll be there.
And as I said in the last podcast, I'm saying it again. I'm going to mention this game. I'm going to try to pump up this game a little bit, because I think it's going to be I'm looking forward to it, because I'm kind of curious to see how the number 2 pick in Conference USA deals with the number 1 pick in the SWAC. I know Prairie View was finished in a tie with Southern, but the number 1 team in the SWAC go against Rice. Prairie View beat Rice last year at Rice during the Hackerman Invitational, so that should be a little bit motivational for the Owls to return the favor on Prairie View's court. I'm looking forward to it, so we'll see how that goes out. But as I said, TSU is also apparently going to launch a new website. Sir, yes, they're going to launch a new website. There was not a date given, specific date, but they're going to launch a new website, and they finalized their 2012 football schedule, which home games will be held where, sir?
At the new downtown stadium, folks, across from Minute Maid Park, and it's coming along nicely. Just drive by Minute Maid Park, and you'll see, drive by 59 north or south on that exit, the overpass, and you'll see it going up. That is the new Texas Southern University Fighting Tigers home football stadium.
But let's not get it twisted. It's also the Dynamo Stadium.
Well, right,
they are partnering, and I'm going to mention this, and hopefully you will have something else to add to this in the future.
In the future.
But it's from the release from TSU. 22,000-seat stadium for TSU Dynamo scheduled to open May of 2012. Season tickets are on sale, and hopefully we'll have some comments. Suites are available. Phone numbers is 713-313-4355, or you can also email tsustadium@tsu.edu. Phone number once again is 713-313-4355. Let me give you the home game dates for the football team. Well, will I return to the Labor Day Classic being on Labor Day next year? Hopefully. September 1st at Prairie View, Reliant Stadium. Home games, September 15th, Jackson State. September 22nd, TSU hosts Alabama A&M. September 29th, listen to this, one of the non-conference opponents, Sam Houston State.
Really?
September 29th, really? So that should be interesting. A little battle with the team from the Southland Conference. October 27th, Grambling. November 3rd, homecoming against Arkansas Pine Bluff. November 17th, Mississippi Valley. Mississippi Valley, boy, they're a bad football team this year. They're winless, 0-7 in SWAC play, 0-8 overall. But also, TSU has another, I got to find on the schedule, another non-conference game next year is at North Texas. Yes, sir.
That's why it's kind of hard right there.
At North Texas. Yes, sir. So they're playing North Texas and Sam Houston State non-conference next year in 2012. Interesting. Very interesting right there. So we'll see how that all plays out.
Yeah, because I want to know who put that on the schedule. So Sam Houston, I can see that, but the North Texas, that's stepping up. That's really stepping up.
So, yeah. So we'll see how things go there. Good luck to TSU. I believe they have a game this weekend, don't they, sir? I love saying this, it'd have been in Mississippi against Mississippi Valley State. That's a win. The Tigers only 1-4 in the SWAC. They can't be on 7 Valley, even though it's a road game. You know, Coach Ramsey, bless him, and the team. I know they're struggling, but you gotta beat Valley. Prairie View is in the Shreveport Classic versus Jackson State. A lot of events surrounding the game.
Yeah.
It's the second annual Shreveport Classic. PV is 4-2 in SWAC, 4-3 overall. Jackson State is 4-1 in the SWAC, 6-1 overall. So on paper, it should be a competitive game. We'll see how things are. Hopefully, a lot of PV people, hopefully fans from both universities will go to the game and attend to support both universities. Hopefully, it's a well-played game. I know a certain Prairie View alum will be in attendance. I'm expecting to be there. One of my mentors, he should be there. He's a proud Panther.
If he doesn't, I'm gonna blast him.
So he should be there, and I'm not gonna name his name. He knows who he is. Now let's shift gears and possibly Wildcat. There may be some good news surrounding the NBA lockout.
Really?
And
until they start, I've gotten to this point now. I'm sort of like you now. Until they start playing, I believe it when I see it.
And I thought that's fair, because what we're talking about, the NBA owners and player representatives of the Player Association, Derek Fisher, Billy Hunter, met Wednesday for 15 hours. Meeting ended around, I think, 2:30, 2:45 Houston time in the morning. I was asleep. I went to sleep.
You?
I hope about the 12-hour mark. And I was, there were positive signs coming out from the meeting. Sources were saying that things have improved, negotiations are better, and sides seem to be coming to agreements on certain issues. Basketball-related income is still a major sticking point. They're meeting again Thursday afternoon. They're getting closer and closer to an agreement. Hopefully something will be hammered out within a week. And if everything happens, then it'll take about 3 weeks to dot the I's and cross the T's regarding the agreement, have the owners vote on it and the players union ratify it. We're looking at maybe late November, December 1st to start the season, which brings me to my question for you.
I'm listening.
One of the things coming out from the press conferences after Wednesday/Thursday mornings meetings was the possibility that they would still play an 82-game schedule.
Why?
What's the point? I mean, the point is obviously make up money they lost.
But you can't make it up. You're talking about 200 games almost. With
the dates, with the arenas having opportunity to schedule and fill those dates. And we were looking at possibly 3 games, on consecutive nights for teams. 4 games in a row, the quality of play is going to suffer. So I know the point is to retrieve that money that was lost, but if the quality is suffering, I don't think it logistically is realistic based on, I think Chicago, there's one city, one arena, and maybe New York and a few other arenas have already booked dates, filled some of those lost dates with Jay-Z and Kanye West concerts. So, if some of those dates have already been filled by other events, then you're slicing some more dates available to games to fill those spaces. So I just think if it's 65, 70 games, so be it. More than 50 is great. 82, I think, is realistic now. But it seems like signs are moving right along that an agreement will finally be reached soon, so we can stop all the he said things about Billy Hunter in an interview with Bill Simmons on Grandland, saying that Mark Cuban proposed the elimination of the salary cap. The NBA said no, he didn't. Cuban said something else. I mean, stuff like that was just petty and ridiculous. I mean, I don't even want to talk about all this. If he said this, he said that, get a deal done so we can talk about basketball games on the court, on the pro level, because Wildcat myself are already focusing on college basketball.
That's right.
So we'll move on happily without it. I mean, and I hope you don't mind my saying, we're already making plans for Denver Women's Final Four, 2012.
Yep.
We're looking toward that. And also, listeners, as we are entrepreneurs, we have no problem saying that we are seeking sponsors for the podcast. As always, we have some irons in the fire. Hopefully we'll have some things in the future to announce. But we're also looking for sponsors for our Final Four trips. These podcasts, we'll probably be doing a podcast in Denver. How about that, sir? Put you on the spot right there. But we'll probably doing a podcast in Denver, 1 or 2. A lot of coaches will be in attendance, so I don't see why that should be difficult to get done. So that's in April, but this is almost November. But
you prepare,
and you just plan for it and move on. What do you think about? What else do you want to talk about? First of all, remind folks where they can find the website, sir.
You can find me at www.kingsizeview.com. My blog is at www.aksvdcsr.blogspot.com. Also, when you go to the kingsizeview.com front page, you see my mug on there. It says the College Sports Report, and then hit that hotkey, and it'll bring you directly up to the link and to the blog. My compadre across from me, KG, you can be found at where, sir?
My website is www.houstonroundballreview.com. Also have a YouTube channel, Houston Roundball. You can see videos, interviews with coaches and players, as well as listen to the podcast. And have your friends go to YouTube to listen to the podcast that way as well. The podcasts are also available on iTunes. So, Fifth Ward Wildcat and myself, podcasts are iTunes, on YouTube, on Facebook, links on my website as well. So we're trying to get with the program and be as many places as possible. Also on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at THEHR Review. Once again, that's THEHR Review. Let's go ahead and talk about the thing that seems to be in tandem with NBA lockout discussion, conference realignment. Let's make that huge announcement that Oral Roberts has announced they will leave
the
summit to join the Southern Conference. So even conference realignment is even on the mid-level, smaller conference, smaller levels. So it's all over the place. But it makes sense for Oral Roberts because the travel expenses will be. But see, their move is better for the student athlete and the expenses because it's going to reduce travel expenses. Right. Whereas some of these discussions on Big Boys level with Boise State being in the Big East, and West Virginia going to the Big 12.
Matter of fact, the Big East is today is that boys. They talk to them about football program and how they will assess the rest of the Olympic sports, and that's the way they refer. That's how they refer. Yes, the Olympic sports. The Olympic sports.
So not football, how I refer to it.
And yesterday they were at the Air Force, and I still am on this kick. If you want to invite anybody out of your region, invite the military schools because they can travel, and they will always have fans because the military, for whatever reason, they are viable. They travel on on government money. They don't have a problem with getting from point A to point B. And when they open the doors up, you got military day, and there you go. That's the rest of your tickets.
It sounds good.
And you don't have a headache with them traveling during the week. There are other sports now, like men's and women's basketball, track and field. They're Olympic sports. You don't have a problem with their travel because they travel with tutors and, missing class work. That's just something that's not done. They always travel with class.
Correct. And U of H Board of Regents meets Thursday evening to officially allow Chancellor President Couture permission to seek, how do we phrase it? Seek other conferences that she deems the best fit for the university.
Right.
It's legal wrangling to keep everything up and up.
She's been given that power, as they say, power of attorney, so they won't have to be meeting every time something comes in. How do you feel with where things are going right now, or would you prefer them to wait?
I'm kind of, the Big East seems to be dragging its feet, and it was concern to me,
especially on yesterday,
until
that issue that came up late.
Until was it Monday? West Virginia and the Big 12 both announced that West Virginia is joining the Big 12.
Right.
Then we hear Tuesday night, Wednesday, that hold up, because we all heard it was pretty much done deal. Missouri's going to leave, the SEC and West Virginia will take their place. Apparently, politicians in Louisville, in Kentucky, lobbied or spoke to some of their friends in the Big 12, specifically Oklahoma president, about Louisville joining the Big 12 rather than West Virginia. And that apparently ticked off the people, the political folks in West Virginia. So now that move of West Virginia, the Mountaineers to join the Big 12 has slowed down, not on hold, but it's slowed down. There were reports that there are 3 or 4 folks in the Big 12 that want Louisville over West Virginia. It makes the Big 12 look silly. I mean, you make an announcement, or sillier, make an announcement that yes, we are looking forward to West Virginia joining the conference, then a day later, oh, hold up, well, we may be reconsidering our decision, our announcements, maybe look at somebody else. No, the bottom line is, they could avoid all this stuff with the Big East poaching some of their schools if they just invite U of H to the Big 12 and make so much sense financially, travel-wise, et cetera, et cetera. But they're not going to do that. Let's not kid ourselves. They're not going to do that. So I would like, whoever it is, West Virginia or Louisville, decides to vote the Big East for the Big 12 fine. As long as Boise State joins the Big East, then it makes sense for U of H to join the Big East. And especially now they're talking about Memphis as another member to the Big East. That helps basketball-wise, without a doubt, making the conference strong once again. Temple may join it as well. So, personally, Boise State is the key. Boise State joins the Big East, then it's fine. Travel's going to be a problem for every other sport that's not football for the athletes at U of H. But as long as Boise joins, Big East is fine with me.
Now, with that being said, 2 things that also transpired in there. Boise had been, either they had initiated the contact or the West Coast Conference had initiated an invitation to allow their other Olympic sports to play in that conference while football goes the other route. It's sort of like a Notre Dame type situation. But you and I are also hearing that the Notre Dame situation could change 2 years from now because of the way the bowl alliances and alliances will be redone as far as whether they would allow their other Olympic sports to stay in the Big East and the football stays independent. Now, whether that arises or not, because it'll all depend on the Notre Dame network, which is NBC, whether they will not renew their contract with them. But my thinking is, if you got a cash cow that everybody loves, that love or hate them, it's just like the Cowboys, love or hate them, you sit and you watch.
And Longhorns.
And
Tim Tebow. Love or hate.
But on the 2 teams, when it comes to network TV, folks would sit down and watch whether they winning or losing because they sit on one side or the other. It's Cowboys on the pro level and Notre Dame on the college level. So the numbers are not as big as they used to be, but they're still large enough to be relevant and to hold on to that contract. and it'll all depend on how the realignments were set up in 2 years, whether the NBC decides they want to allow, go another round as far as allowing Notre Dame to move on. That will be, I see that as what sits on their shoulder, is what they'll have to sit and decide whether it's viable for them to go and join a conference and still hold on to what they believe in, because you and I both know you can't get, Notre Dame is one of those places, just like Rice, that they don't buy down to athletic, whatever. They don't, no transfers, no JUCOs, no props. You either have it academically,
it's much more difficult to get to Notre Dame academically. So, and the issue with Notre Dame is a discussion about them possibly joining the Big 12. And they have, AD has said that Notre Dame is considering joining a conference in all sports.
Right.
We'll see it. They're studying it and seeing what's best for them. Blah 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 blah. Big 12 is an option for them. Big 10 seems like a better fit for them as far as location, geography. The ACC is still a hope for Notre Dame joining their conference. Notre Dame doesn't want, most of their sports are in the Big East. So if they leave, then that's another blow to the Big East. Everything is so fluid. Everything changes seemingly hour by hour, day by day. We could also talk, we don't have a whole lot of time to talk about it, but the NCAA talking about doing the $2,000 per student athlete, that pay, as well as the APR raising that to $930. Also,
they're talking about changing
not allowing teams who don't have APR of 900 in the postseason participation. That's a big deal. If that passes, and it probably will pass, that's a big deal. For example,
the APR
would not have qualified for a tournament last year on the men's side. Excuse me, let me be specific. The men's team would not have qualified for the tournament. They won a championship. Their APR was not at that base level. So we'll see how that goes, and that may impact a few local schools as well, based on their APR. So if the APR is not whatever if they do agree at a certain number, if it's 900, the APR is not that number, you don't make postseason play. That's a big deal. That's money lost. And it makes your program look bad too. So we'll see how all that plays out.
Now, from what I'm understanding, that's across the board as far in all athletics, the APR, right? As it's written now. Now, with that being said, if they change that, now you're talking about really making a change on the bowl allowances. The bowl allowances, as these conferences are set up, who will be allowed to go because of that situation. Because, you and I both have been told on numerous occasions, football drives the wheel. That's what drives the market and all on each one of these college campuses. So if you have a situation of, let's say, 3 or 4 SEC schools, like this year, you got Alabama and LSU, and things are not up to snuff across the board athletic-wise. You get pulled down maybe 5 points. You're right at that threshold. Are you still allowing them to make that trip to the national championship game, or are you putting them on the back burner?
Well, it opens up another can of worms, because if you have a base APR to determine your who makes postseason play, somebody may cheat. Somebody may skirt the issue. Somebody may change grade. Who knows what somebody may do to qualify.
And now you move back to the 60s and
exactly.
60s and
so it opens up a whole another can of worms of potential problems. We'll see how it all comes about. President Mark Emmert, NCAA President Mark Emmert, hopes to get these things passed, because he's still gung ho and about student athlete and the importance of academics. We all believe in the importance of academics, but also don't want to ignore the hypocrisy of the business side of college athletics, which certain people seem to do. And if some folks think I'm out of turn, start reading about the Michael Beasley situation.
Yep.
Michael Beasley is in the NBA, now the Minnesota Timberwolves. There's a story about him now suing, lawsuits are involved with an agent involving potential quote-unquote runner who coached him involving AAU when he was 13 years old. Head coach was involved. So all those things may shed more light on what you and I have known, seen for years, that it does go on.
Right.
So when we're talking about payments to the basketball player, the parent, relative, the guardian, in hopes of steering that kid to the college or getting that kid to be represented by the agent in the NBA or in the professional ranks. So that is something to watch. And if it comes about, Kansas State will be replayed in 1 year of college basketball, may end up having to give back those games that he participated in. So all that team may just be wiped out.
Yep.
So this happens all over the place. So that's what I'm talking about, the hypocrisy of the student athlete in big time athletics. Let's wrap it up. Anything you want to say before you wrap it up, sir?
The latest edition of King Size View is online at www.kingsizeview.com. There's a nice picture on page, let's scroll down here, page 20 of three young Cougars. Number 3, Justin Johnson. Number 74, offensive lineman, Big Roddy, a redshirt freshman. And that other kid, I think it's 18 or 10, but I think that's a McMillan kid.
Zach McMillan? Audrey's son, yeah.
No, I'm
quarterback.
He's a star, folks. He's a star in the making.
Well, hopefully. He got lit up. He was picked on in last home game.
When you're young like that, that's what happens.
He's a sophomore DB. He's probably undersized. He has to know how to deal with defending taller, bigger receivers.
We'll find out today.
He gets things done. And let's, last thing, Thursday night, 7 p.m. kickoff at Robertson Stadium, University of Houston, Rice Isles, Bayou Bucket.
You need to probably show up, folks, because it may be the last one for a while.
The last 4 games been split 2-2. Rice has won twice at home at their place. UVA won twice at their place at Rob. So it's a home game for UVA. It should be a win. Coach Summer needs to beat Rice a little bit more than he's doing. That's my personal opinion on that. But as the Wildcat said, this could be the last one for a while, depending on how things. I hate this for that to happen. If Cougars go to another conference, I'd hope that they'd still find a way to continue playing each other every year. So, how can folks find you?
You can find me at www.kingsizeview.com. Hit that hotkey on the front page.
Twitter, man. Twitter.
Twitter. Hashtag AKSVBCSR.
And your blog?
And my blog is AKSVBCSR.blogspot.com. And also my compadre, who is also a part of the King Size View crew, you can be found at where, sir?
Well, in addition to being picture my big old head in King Size View publications, I'm on my website, www.HoustonRoundballReview.com, on Facebook at the Houston Roundball Review fan page. Twitter is THEHR Review. The KG and Fifth of Wildcat podcasts are also available on iTunes. Subscribe to them. They are free to listen to. Tell your friends about us. Please do. Hope you enjoy listening to us. Hope you enjoy listening to our viewpoints on all things sports. We try to cover the local teams especially, as well as give you a little bit of a national flavor also. Thank you very much for listening to the podcast. And in conclusion, as I always say, as I wrap it up, be true, be cool, and do more.